Hello, my friends, and welcome to today's podcast episode. Thank you for joining me here in this space. It's always such a privilege to be holding this space for you here within this container. Today, I want to talk about something that is very dear to my heart, and that is the subject of creating and building and growing your business and achieving goals within that business, achieving results, the embodied way. And I'm sure you have seen a lot of videos popping up all over the place. I'm sure you receive loads of emails from many different practitioners and coaches talking about their own process and sharing the wisdom around planning your next year. And so much of it is focused on the mind. So much of it is focused on achieving goals, on the final results, final outcomes. But for me, there is often an element of it missing. Well, a couple of elements really missing. One is that the focus is so much on the outcome, it really promotes this hustle mentality. It promotes this striving and hustling and working more and more and more and doing more and more and more and being productive and forgetting about doing it in alignment with your core values and nurturing the qualities that you want to embody. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that is often missing is that nervous system piece. Are we doing it in a way that supports our nervous system, our energy, our unique path, our unique rhythm? And so today I want to share with you the process that I do and that I teach in our program, the Embodied Business Mandala. That program has been running in various different forms over the last, I think, about 4 years now. And in that program, we do a quarterly planning, quarterly seasonal planning workshops. And we've just done one in December with the focus on the whole year. But 1 year is way too long to plan out. If you just set your yearly goals, you're going to lose the motivation. You're going to go off into following shiny objects. You're going to lose your focus. So actually planning with the view of the whole year and the long-term outcomes, long-term vision, but also splitting it then into quarterly and seasonal planning can be really, really helpful. It makes it so much more valuable. I find that even with the quarterly planning, I can be very focused for a couple of months, and then, the last month, if I am not careful, I can go off into a tangent, sign up for something else, be distracted by a shiny object. So it's really important that we have got a system or systems that really help us to stay on track. And so today I want to share with you the 3 steps that really help me and help those practitioners that I mentor and coach within the Embodied Business Mandala to stay on track. And some of the most amazing results, in the last year where practitioners created their online program and sold it out completely, and then delivered it. Got fully booked up within their programs, ran successful retreats, worked in a different way. There is so much in here that we need to embrace and that we need to bring into focus. And each one of us has got a slightly different business. Even if you get 10 somatic coaches into a room, each one of them will have a slightly different point of view, slightly different combination of their training, different personality, different approach to working with clients, preferring different tools and techniques and practices that they share with their clients, different pathway of working with the clients. And so this is a very, very, very important thing in here, that whenever you take something or you learn something from somebody else, that then you spend time to make it your own, because your approach is completely unique, or it needs to be a completely unique, because you are a unique person. So the 3 steps that I want to share with you today are, and it's a very simple process. Number 1 is gaining clarity about your final outcome. Number 2 is creating a detailed plan of action with all the action steps and scheduling them within your calendar, your weekly calendar, your weekly schedule. And number 3 is building accountability for yourself and with others. Those 3 things, those 3 steps rather, will really help you to achieve your goals within your business and within your life. And so I also want to weave in those principles from my Embodied Business Mandala, Mentorship, and Mastermind circle to ensure that these steps that I'm talking about are deeply aligned and really have a flavor, overall flavor and direction of your life, because that's really, really important. It cannot be somebody else's idea of what they want to be working towards, but really have your own flavor within that. So let's start with the step number 1. So step number 1 is clarity, and that is about getting crystal clear about your final outcome. This isn't just about setting goals like, I want to grow my business, or I want to feel healthier, or I want to be fitter. Clarity means knowing exactly what your goal looks and feels like when you achieve it. And so you can start asking yourself questions like, what do I want to create or achieve? How will I know I've succeeded? And what will it look like from the outside? And one of the most important questions here is, how will I feel within my body, the wisdom of my body, my somatic wisdom? How will it feel in my body when I achieve that? Because here is the thing. Clarity can be just mental, like I have got it all planned out, it all looks logical, and it all looks good on paper. But clarity is also somatic. It's a felt sense. When we achieve something, one of the things that I notice definitely for myself is when I achieve my goals, there is a felt sense, felt experience of satisfaction, of really this sense of, oh my God, that feels amazing. There are flavors within that of gratitude and appreciation. The gratitude and appreciation for all the work that I've put in. There is a sense of amazement of how far I've come. There is a sense of gratitude for all I've learned. There is a sense of appreciation of the path that I am on. There is a gratitude to everybody who's been a support system for me, or everybody that I've collaborated on this path. There is so much in here, and there is a sense of being, not a sense of doing, a sense of being in this moment, experiencing all of those things, knowing that all the hard work was so worth it, feeling of alignment with this path that I have chosen. So there is a felt sense of this arriving and being here and now. So your body holds this incredible wisdom. And when you tune in, it can guide you towards your goals, those goals that are really aligned with your true desires, your soul desires, not what you think you should do or what other people are telling you that you should do. You know, those external goals like earning 6 figures or you know, earning a certain amount of money, or creating something from out there, you know, earning millions, impacting million women or million practitioners. Those really, sometimes I feel like people just plug those numbers out of thin air. And so really, you know, one of the key principles, and principles are so wonderful because principles you can bring those principles in various different contexts. So within the context of our embodied business mandala, one of its key principles is grounding your vision within your core values. So for example, if one of your core values is connection, your vision might involve collaborating with others or creating community rather than working in isolation. And isolation, as you know, is a big thing for self-employed practitioners. I hear that so often, and I experience that myself. And so really thinking about those core values can shift what you're working towards. And, you know, people talk about at the moment about one word of the year. And for the last couple of years, the word that I had was spaciousness. And because I wanted more slow living, I wanted more slow and embodied living, this connected living, creating community, creating connections with others, collaborating with wonderful practitioners. And the interesting thing is, as we were coming to the end of the year, I was thinking, I am not going to have spaciousness for the next year because it feels like I have created quite a lot of spaciousness. Now I want to grow. And growth is one of the things that I want to really focus on, but not growth up, but growth out, sustainable, embodied growth, and growing even deeper roots. And a really interesting thing happened that when I sat down to actually, we were doing our quarterly seasonal planning session. And when I sat down with the workbook that we use, because I use it for myself as well, something really interesting happened, that I actually realized that spaciousness is one of the real core values that I have, that I do not want to let it go, that it needs to stay as one of the core principles for everything that I do. Because in the past, I had tendency of, you know, overworking, really pushing myself and, being a workaholic, really subscribing to this hustle mentality, not in a sense, not in that very masculine hustle and grind, but in doing lots of different projects, working on so many different things at the same time, working long hours and 7 days a week, and having lots of different projects that would require me to shift my focus a lot. And over the last couple of years, I simplified a lot, but simplified with spaciousness. Simplified because I'm focusing so much on just 2 programs within my business. And those 2 programs are what I really love and what I really believe in, which is the Embodied Business Mandala Mentorship and our 160-hour trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification. And just those 2 core programs are what are really aligned with the principles that I believe in and that I want to live by. So take a moment now, or after this podcast, to visualize your final outcome. I like to write it down, and then I like to go for a walk with my dog Oscar on the beach, and then think about it, check in how it feels within my body, taking some breaths into my belly, softening my shoulders. And so you can do it now or you can do it later, but take time to connect with your body and imagine yourself 1 year from now. And imagine being really satisfied, very grateful, very appreciative of your journey, how it's gone and what you achieved. All the connections, all the learning, all the insights, everything that you experienced. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what qualities you are embodying in this moment. And let your nervous system and your physiology and your soul anchor into this vision. Allow yourself to really experience it, how it feels for you to feel so deeply satisfied, so deeply grateful and appreciative of everything that you experienced, you learned, of who you've become, and what you created, what you achieved. And then as you do that and you connect with this state, this embodied state, then check what you wrote down. Is there alignment in what you align? So this is really, really important. Like if I know that throughout the last year, every decision that I made around whether I would sign up for a project or commit to a project or let go of something, when I put it through the spaciousness, the quality of spaciousness, I could see whether it would work or not. So in addition to spaciousness, I've got the whole list of things in my new journal for 2025. And for me this year, it wasn't just one word again. There were lots of different words. There was slow living and nature, self-trust, self-love, minimalism, and low spent year. And within the context of the business, sustainable growth, nervous system friendly business, simplicity and focus, collaboration and community, deep healing impact, abundance and prosperity, essentialist and simplicity, and deep work. And so all of those are part of the qualities that I want to embody. And every decision around my business needs to be made through the lens of those qualities. And so take time to do this step one. I think so often we focus, as I said, so often we focus on the final outcome, but what we miss out on are those qualities that we need to embody or that we want to embody. And so then we end up in being in this cognitive dissonance where we say we want one thing and then our behavior shows something completely different. And I see that a lot with in the context of business, where there are conscientious, intentional, compassionate, amazing practitioners who work amazingly with their clients. And when it comes to running their business, it's as they had a personality transplant. Completely different approach, completely different behavior, not aligned with how they work with their clients. So ultimately, what we want is to be in that alignment with our core values and bringing them into our business, not just when we are with our clients, but how we run our business. That's the thing that is so often missing. I really hope that this is really helpful for you, because without that first step, everything else will feel misaligned. So take time to connect with what's most important for you and allow that to flavor every single decision that you make. So let's look at step number 2. And step number 2 is create a detailed plan of action. And so once you have clarity, the next step is to create a plan. And so when I say plan, I'm not only talking about a list of different, a to-do list or a list of different things that you have to do. I'm also taking it a little bit further. And once we have got those different actions that you need to do, the milestones along the way to help you understand that you are further on your journey, that you're moving forward. It's also about scheduling it, slotting it into your weekly calendar. For me, if it is not on my weekly calendar, it's not going to get done. I need to work on something in a consistent way. And I know that when I have a plan of action, step by step, worked it out, when I arrive on the day to work on my plan, I don't have to think about what is the next thing that I need to do. I just know it. I know what it is. I sit down. I know that today I'm working on this and this is what I have to do. And so why do we need an action plan? Well, think about this in this way. There is a difference between if you want to travel or drive or travel from London to Manchester, that plan will look different to if you want to travel from London to Paris. Yeah, you will need to create a different plan of action. You might use different trains. You decide to use a car because that's better. You might decide to fly because, especially from London to Paris, you might use a Eurostar or flight or a ferry. Whereas if you go into Manchester, you will use a train or a car or a coach. There is a difference there because your outcome, your ultimate designation is different. And so it's also important in here the time frame that you're working within. So the question in here is, how much time can you realistically dedicate each week to this work? And maybe, and within that, maybe you need to let go of something. I had to let go of quite a lot of different things in order to focus on the most essential, the most important thing in here. You need to decide what needs to happen first and what can wait until later. And the time frame is really important in here, because if you want to achieve your goal within a quarter, it might, it will look different than it might look different than if you have got 6 months, for example, so 2 quarters. When you schedule, once you've done your steps and you schedule them into your calendar, it's really good to actually block out time for different tasks. And here is where the nervous system comes in. It's so important that you ask yourself questions like, when do I have the most energy? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it late afternoon? And when do I need time for rest and recovery? How much time do I need for rest and recovery? And so also bringing into consideration the season. Like this time of the year, for example, this new year, new you. Yes, you can get away with it when you're younger, when you've got loads of energy. But in reality, we are in the middle of winter. The season of winter has only just started a few days ago. We are in deep winter, the season that invites us to step back, to go into the darkness, to go into recovery, to go into deep rest, just like the nature does, rather than jump in and start new habits, and especially those strong habits, go to the gym and give it your full and hustle right from the beginning of the year. If you're exhausted, doing this kind of thing will only exhaust you further. Give yourself permission to plan in a gentle way. Give yourself permission to spread out a little bit more. Give yourself a little bit more time, especially if you're doing something new, to allow yourself more time of this kind of working things out. So, for example, if you want to create a program, an online program, let's say online somatic coaching program, it might take you 1 quarter to create it and promote it. And then the next quarter you can run it, rather than jumping straight in and trying to sell it, trying to do all of that when you are already exhausted. So this is something that we talk a lot in the Embodied Business Mandala, embracing the seasons, embracing your own rhythm, knowing how much capacity you have within your nervous system, within your physiology, within your commitments, within the working schedule that you have already in place. Because what I notice is that all of us make pretty much the same mistake, that we plan in a very optimistic way. So we plan in a way of like, oh yes, that I can do that. I've got this. Yeah, that is really great. But we do not give ourselves flexibility for what will happen if I get ill. What will happen if my child gets ill or my loved one gets ill? What will happen if I'm just exhausted? What will happen if something unpredictable happens? We are very optimistic about what we can achieve and what we can create in short amount of time. But it's this accumulative impact that we want to be working towards, long-term sustainability rather than short-term hustle mentality. And so creating that detailed plan of action will help you to very quickly to notice whether you are right on track. And this is one of the beautiful things about having a detailed plan of action. Like very quickly, within the first 3 or 4 weeks, you will know whether you're overscheduled. Because you will notice, like this week I was supposed to do this, next week I am still on last week's action steps. And then you can adjust. The beauty of running your own business, being self-employed, is that you can do that. You are your own boss. In that case, you can also notice that maybe I need some support from somebody else to help me get on track if I want to stay within the same time frame. So remember, this is not about hustling. This is about aligned action and working in a way that is right for you, your own rhythm, embracing the seasonal way of working, and really asking yourself things like, does this week's plan feel supportive? What's my embodied felt sense of this? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling like I'm hustling? Am I feeling time poor, really stretched out? And what do I need to do to shift in order to stay in alignment? And adjusting accordingly. So this second step of creating a detailed plan of action and scheduling it within your weekly diary will really give you a lot of feedback straight away. And that is the embodied way of planning, to really noticing in real terms whether it feels aligned or whether we are disconnected from our inner wisdom or from the qualities that we want to embody. And the last step in here, and this is where it can make a huge difference, everything that we talked about so far. And that is, the final step is accountability. It is a huge thing. It's a glue that holds everything together. Without accountability, even the clearest vision and the best plan of action can fall apart. So there are 2 types of accountability that I created within my business and that we have within the Embodied Business Mandala, and that I recommend for you. And that is the self-accountability and external accountability. For self-accountability, the best way for me is journaling. At the beginning of each day and week, taking time to really plan out your week, to double check what you need to do that week. And then at the end of each day or week, taking a few moments to reflect. What did I accomplish? How did it align with my values and my vision? And is it actually working? Or am I just going through the motions and actually I need to make some adjustments. How does it feel within my body? Does it feel aligned? Does it feel disconnected? So the tool that can be really useful and powerful is doing somatic checking in and asking yourself on a regular basis, how does my body feel about the progress that I'm making? Am I pushing too hard or am I in the flow? Is it a sustainable way of working for me? Or if I'm thinking about it, I'm just getting anxious and exhausted. How do I track what I'm doing? Am I sacrificing something like my well-being, my health, or my relationships so I can achieve my business goals or my financial goals? And that's what will help you to really check or keep checking again and keep coming back to what's most important. In addition to that, that external accountability is just as important. So that could mean finding an accountability partner, joining a supportive community, or working with a coach or mentor. And this is one of the things that I see the most within the Embodied Business Mandala and my one-to-one clients. Having somebody, and I see it with myself, having somebody to say to somebody, oh, I didn't do that, or I did do it and it worked, or I did do it and it kind of worked, but I need to make some changes. It's really amazing. Not feeling like you're completely alone, not feeling like you don't know whether the decisions that you are making are right or wrong, but you have somebody to give you some feedback, somebody to ask you some questions that might help you clarify certain things. Somebody, especially from somebody who's been on this path themselves already. When I look for mentors and coaches, I look for those practitioners who are walking they talk. How do I know that? I can see it by the way that they present, and I can see that they are doing the work. They're not just talking from academic perspective or theoretical perspective. I see that they created the business that is aligned with their values and is aligned with my values, with the way that I work, and that they will help me to take this next step in the direction that I want to go in, not in the direction that they're going in. And they're giving me some kind of framework and some kind of process that I have to, and there is expectation that I have to implement it completely and fully, but that they will help me find my own ways, and they bring the wisdom of their own lived experience. So, and this is what, for example, we do in the Embodied Business Mandala. We work with the frameworks of mandalas. And as you know, every mandala is different. Each one has got a different flavor to it, a different form to it, different colors. There might be same things that we include, like, for example, the business mandala, every single one will have a vision. Every single one will have a embodied message. But my vision will be different to your vision. My message and messaging, my embodied big message will be different to your embodied big message, because your personality is different from my personality. What I want in my life and how I want to live my life will be slightly different, if not very different, from yours. How I want to create my business model will be different to how you love to work and want to create your business model. And so this is really important. Have some accountability for yourself whether you are using a notebook, whether you are using Asana or ClickUp or Notion, whether you are using, I don't know, templates, and have some accountability from others. So you don't feel so isolated, so you don't feel so alone, so you don't feel like you're completely on your own, making all of those decisions on your own without anybody to give you any feedback and mirror back to you what you are saying and maybe guiding you a little bit on that path. So remember that accountability isn't about perfection. It is about progress. It is about alignment. It is about experimenting, finding the ways that are right for you, celebrating small wins along the way, and course correcting with compassion when needed. Everything in business is an experiment. Some things really work out amazingly, and some things we have to keep changing till they work properly. And some things just don't work. It's true for every single business. It's not a sign of failure. It's just a sign of progress, the sign of growth, the sign of coming back more into alignment every single step. And as I said, it's not only about the final outcome, it's also about how you get there. And that's the thing that we often need to tweak. And that's the thing that sometimes we lose along the way if we are doing it on our own. So let me recap the 3 steps to help you achieve a great year 2025. Step number 1, gain clarity about your final outcome and the qualities you want to embody as you are getting there. Number 2, create a detailed plan of action steps and schedule them into your weekly calendar. And number 3, build accountability for yourself and with others. And all of that through the lens of your core values, the qualities you want to embody, and the nervous system friendly approach. I hope you found this helpful today. I hope that you can take what resonates and to implement it. Take a little bit of time to reflect on what we discussed, because if you don't do that, everything will become a little bit harder along the way. And if you'd like to join a group that would support you through the whole of 2025, if it resonated what I was talking about, if you're ready to take your vision to the next level, I'd like to invite you to join the Embodied Business Mandala Mentorship and Mastermind Circle. This year-long program is designed to help sensitive, conscientious female practitioners like you build aligned, sustainable businesses while staying true to your core values and nervous system well-being. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to see what you create in 2025. And until next time, take care and look after yourself and keep moving forward in embodied, aligned, and authentic ways.